Tonight, we're planning to stay over, and I need you to make accommodations for us. Excuse me, come on. I've mentioned this before, I protested. I'll be watching a play nearby, and since it ends late in the evening, we'll all be staying here during her son's absence. However, my mother-in-law arrived unannounced with 7 friends, completely disregarding my plans. Despite my attempts to decline and explain my situation, she nonchalantly suggested, "But you'll be back soon, right? We'll just drop our stuff, head out for a while. Can you prepare dinner and sleeping arrangements for us?" Feeling pushed to my limit, I recognized the shimmering necklace around her neck. I had endured her brazen behavior without confrontation for too long. Finally, I spoke up, "I can't. I have a trip planned starting now." "A trip? Who are you going with?" Her surprised response was met with a firm no from me. Having had enough of her excessive harassment, I drew the line. "Please give me back that necklace." It was time for my mother-in-law to face consequences for her actions. Allow me to introduce myself, Michelle Gorman, a 30-year-old housewife. Utilizing my administrative experience, I work as a computer class instructor. My husband, Mike, serves as the president of his father's subsidiary, keeping him busy every day. Although he appears deep in thought at times, I find solace in the moments when he relaxes, especially during our favorite movie dates. "I feel lighter when I'm with you," he often says. While I wish I could offer advice or suggestions, expressing my opinions has always been a struggle. Since childhood, I preferred listening to others rather than speaking about myself. My older brother, 4 years my senior, always looked out for me, a trait I used to dislike about myself. Thanks to Mike's reassurance, I've gained some confidence. Mike has an older brother who serves as the vice president in their father's company. His wife, Mindy, is close in age to me, and we get along well. She's a career-driven woman, both reliable and kind. I admire how she stands her ground and expresses her opinions, yet she is also understanding and adaptable. Witnessing her confront my mother-in-law was truly impressive. However, since they live far away, I regret not being able to see them often. On the other hand, my mother-in-law behaves with the air of a company president's daughter, always confident. Yet, her stubbornness and arrogance are evident. "Michelle, you're the wife of Mike, the president. You should quit being a computer instructor and fully support your husband." She'd reprimand, overwhelming me with her pressure. Mike would back me up, but she'd remain displeased. I sometimes felt relieved that we lived apart. I hoped for a peaceful life with Mike and eventually to be blessed with children. Suddenly, Mike's father passed away from a heart attack. The news was so unexpected that it was hard for everyone to accept. Yet Mike and his brother had to think about the company's future. Mike decided to stay in New York for a while. I returned home and waited for Mike's call, knowing the added responsibilities on the two of them were immense. After discussions with his brother, it was decided that Mike would transfer to the New York headquarters. His brother became the president, and Mike was appointed vice president. We searched for a house in New York and settled on a pre-built single-family home. Despite its distance from the station, the less urban area provided a sense of security and good sunlight, promising a comfortable life. As Mike had to work late due to the handover tasks, I made sure to create a comfortable environment at home. I aimed to facilitate proper rest for him and prepared nutritious lunches. I wanted to do everything I could to support him, and just like that, a month flew by. One evening, Mike returned home, expressing his hunger and gratitude for my efforts. He mentioned that his mom wanted to visit over the weekend. I had been concerned about her well-being since my father-in-law passed away, so this was a relief to hear. Despite some areas still needing tidying up, she was more than welcome. Mike then suggested inviting his brother and his wife, Mindy, as well. I agreed, finding it easier to frequently meet my sister-in-law after moving. That weekend, we all gathered to catch up on the current situation and share memories of my father-in-law. Though it was sad that he was gone, I felt it was essential not to dwell on the sorrow forever. To lift my spirits, I started taking up a hobby. Seeing my mother-in-law's cheerful face brought relief. She always carried herself with elegance, wearing beautiful dresses and lovely accessories. On this particular day, she looked stylish with a pale purple scarf that stood out, though it seemed she had lost a little weight. However, her firmness in advising Mike and his brother on company matters hadn't changed. Since my father-in-law's passing, I felt that her strict remarks towards me had increased. "Michelle, we're running low on drinks. Could you go buy some?" she would command. When Jessica offered to go get them, my mother-in-law insisted, seemingly more commanding towards me than with Mindy. I thought she might be struggling with the loss of her husband, so I decided to observe and let her comments slide for a while. After dinner, Mike drove everyone home, and the night came to an end. However, for some reason, my mother-in-law began visiting our home frequently. She started criticizing my housework and complaining about Mindy. Moreover, she began going through our fridge without permission, leaving me stunned. "Michelle, Mike is so busy right now. You should pay more attention to the meals you prepare for him." "What if he collapses too?" she scolded. I promised to be more careful. The comments continued, feeling as though she was picking on me just to pass the time. When Mindy visited, my mother-in-law would quickly leave, claiming she had other things to do. She said it wasn't because she disliked me, but I felt otherwise. Perhaps she found it easier to assert herself over me, who rarely countered, than over Mindy, who always spoke her mind. Feeling the need to spend less time at home, I thought about finding a job. Even after finding one, the harassment from my mother-in-law intensified. "Michelle, we ran out of barbecue sauce at our place, so get some while you're out," she demanded. Her audacity sometimes left me dumbfounded, especially since she could easily buy premium ingredients from an upscale store. Then an incident occurred. A necklace I cherished disappeared. It was a keepsake from my mother, which I had kept safely on a shelf in my room. The only person I could think of was my mother-in-law, who frequently visited. Though I didn't want to suspect her, she often looked around our home and probably knew where most things were. Despite searching everywhere, it remained missing, so I decided to ask her about it. When I confronted her, she responded with a fierce yell, accusing me of losing it myself. I felt not only anger at being accused, but devastation at losing my mother's keepsake. Tears began to roll down my face. "I don't care, it's just a necklace. Why don't you have Mike buy you a new one?" she callously remarked. It wasn't about getting a new one. It was about the sentimental value. Realizing she wouldn't understand, I decided not to discuss it further. However, incidents kept occurring where money from my wallet and other items around the house would go missing. Despite keeping a watchful eye on my mother-in-law's actions, I never saw her take anything. Confused and emotionally exhausted, I confided in many who asserted that my mother-in-law was definitely the prime suspect. No one else had access to our home. The realization saddened me, yet there was no concrete evidence of her theft. I couldn't understand why she would do such a thing, especially since she continued to live a lavish lifestyle from the inheritance left by my father-in-law. Seeing my distress, Mindy made a suggestion. Little did I know at the time where this would lead. About 2 weeks after speaking to Mindy, Mike and his brother were going on a business trip to meet with a company from another state. Knowing about their trip, Mindy thought it might be a good time for us to take a break and invited me on a short vacation. Having been mentally and physically drained, I agreed to relax and enjoy the trip. Recently, the idea of a getaway had become appealing. I packed early and placed my travel bag near the entrance, eagerly waiting for departure time. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Wondering who it could be, I checked the video feed to find my mother-in-law, accompanied by several others. "Hello, Michelle. I brought some friends. Please open up," she said. Opening the front door, I found my mother-in-law and about 7 friends, all carrying large bags. Were they going somewhere? "We're staying here tonight. Make us comfortable," she declared. Stunned, I replied firmly, "Excuse me, didn't I mention it? We're seeing a play nearby tonight, and since it ends late, we're all staying here." This was news to me, and my departure time was approaching. "Oh, did I inconvenience you?" I heard from Jessica that you were open to having us, she said, seemingly making up the story as she went along. Growing frustrated, I replied, I'm sorry, but I wasn't informed of this, and I have plans. To my surprise, she looked taken aback. But you'll be back soon, right? We'll drop our bags and head out for a bit. Just prepare dinner and sleeping arrangements for us, she insisted, ignoring the fact that I had plans. I couldn't let this slide. I can't. I'm going on a trip, I firmly stated. With whom? With Mindy? She questioned. Yes, just with Mindy. You can go anytime. We've come all this way just for today. How long are you going to make us wait? She retorted. At that moment, I noticed something glinting around her neck. Wait, that necklace you're wearing, I exclaimed. To my astonishment, it was the same necklace that was a keepsake from my mother, which had recently gone missing. Why, it's just one of my collections. Is there a problem? She answered with a smug look. Mindy arrived, realizing something was amiss. I was wondering why you didn't show up at our meeting place and didn't contact me. So this is what was happening, Mindy remarked. I'm sorry I couldn't get in touch, Mindy. The necklace she's wearing is the same one as my mother's that went missing recently, I explained. Mindy purposefully said loud enough for everyone to hear, Oh, the one you kept in that box. Suddenly, my mother-in-law, trying to keep it from her friends, whispered to us, Can you stop this? It's embarrassing. Do you want to accuse me of theft? Mindy answered firmly. Do you have any proof that I stole it? My mother-in-law retorted. Feeling embarrassed and frustrated, she turned back to her friends, saying, Well, let's go inside, everyone. As she attempted to move inside, I remembered something. The initials. My mother's initials are engraved on the necklace. Jessica, can I have a look, please? Mindy quickly went behind her to check, and there it was, the initials Kai. The friends looked horrified and stepped back. Stop this! I didn't come here for this. Let's go, everyone. My mother-in-law insisted, but her friends were not willing to leave. Trying to follow her friends, she was stopped. What are you doing here? Weren't you supposed to be on a business trip? Standing there was Mike. It turns out Mike's business trip was actually scheduled for the next day. To investigate his mother's actions, he had purposely given her a false date. Mindy had informed Mike about the missing items from the house, and now the truth was unraveling. I had confided in Mindy initially. Mike was skeptical. However, upon visiting his childhood home and noticing several items identical to ours, he began to suspect theft. However, without evidence, he knew she could easily deny it, leading him to come up with today's plan. Inviting friends for an overnight stay was unexpected, but he was certain his mother would visit if she believed he wasn't home. As she tried to leave, I stopped her, demanding the necklace back. That necklace isn't yours. It's the keepsake from Michelle's parents. Why do you have it, Mom? I questioned. It's not what you think. I found it in my purse. Michelle must have set me up, she insisted, suddenly shifting the blame to me. Do you really think such a lie would work? There's no way Michelle would do something like that. First, give the necklace back to Michelle. We'll talk after that, Mike demanded. Reluctantly, she took off the necklace, threw it on the ground, and tried to run away. As we chased her, we stopped short. Police officers stood in front of her. Unsure about what was happening, we stared at the bizarre scene. One of the officers explained that they received a report from a local resident about someone causing a ruckus at our house. They had witnessed my mother-in-law sneaking into our backyard, likely using a spare key. Indeed, we had a spare key hidden beneath a plant pot in the backyard. This realization gave us chills and explained the missing items. Mike had considered this possibility and was planning to observe her actions while we were out today. But he never expected to find out the truth in this manner. The police questioned my mother-in-law, and it turned out she had been entering our house when we weren't home. She was promptly arrested on charges of unlawful entry and theft, despite her continuous protests. Her father visited her during visitation and scolded her, warning her to reflect on her actions sincerely. Later, we found out that the couple living diagonally across from us had reported her, The wife, who worked from home, had noticed my mother-in-law entering our yard suspiciously multiple times. Since then, we've been leading a peaceful life, changed our locks, and stopped hiding a spare key. Mike severed ties with his mother, and after her release, she returned to her rural childhood home. My father moved in with us, not only to ensure my safety, but also for another reason. I'm currently expecting our first child. The support of Mike and my kind father makes me want to be a mother who embodies both tenderness and strength. While money and possessions can provide a sense of fulfillment, it's the presence of loved ones that truly fills the heart. We aim to protect our peaceful daily lives, surrounded by those dear to us.